home stretch, guys. Home stretch. Now we're gonna configure the NAT and actually get all these devices to connect to the internet, right? All these devices, we're gonna get them to connect to the internet. Okay, so let's move this a little side space, the VLANs. Okay, and let's put DHCP server here, APN controller. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna use the 10.x address or a class A address to be a proxy for the internet. Okay, and we're gonna set that up on router 0. So we're gonna start, let's make a note here, phase 6, phase 6 NAT. Okay, right, and I'm gonna put all the instructions here. Lot. Okay, so first we're gonna add a network that goes through the cloud. Then we're gonna add a modem. We're gonna add that as just a modem that goes through the cloud. We're gonna set up a couple servers so we can have, for example, 2 different web servers on it. We're gonna configure routing on the layer 3 switch, and we're gonna configure routing on the router. We're gonna be using OSPF, and then finally we're gonna set up NAT on the router. Okay, here we go. So I'm gonna edit this. Edit. Okay, cool. Okay, so maybe I should move this down here so you guys can see the NAT, right? Maybe that's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's the circle. Then later, maybe I'll add a 7 on DNS after this. Okie dokes. So let's start, guys. Network devices, WAN emulation. What we're going to do is we're going to put a modem here to represent a modem. Then we're going to put a cloud. Then I'm just going to put a switch, 2960. Okay. And then I'll just pretend we have 2 servers. Server 1, maybe this could be a web server that you enjoy, like YouTube. And then this one maybe could be Google or something. Okay. So we'll just call you Google. 10.0.0.120, right, /8. Okay, and let's say that's Google, and let's say this is Netflix or YouTube. Okay, YouTube, 10.0.0.130/8. There will be differences with a public IP, but this is just a practice anyway. Okay, so now, and I'm gonna assign the router here. It's a bit of a shortcut. We're going to be assigning this to be on that public network as well. So we're going to use 01.0001 10.0.0.100, right? That's our subnet mask, and we're going to turn that on. Okay. So I'm going to type that there. That's the outside IP address, 10.0.0.100/8, right, for the subnet. Okay. Let me just check all the servers have the correct subnet mask. Okay, here in the config. Oh, interestingly, they don't. So let's set up each server. Now, this is going to be 10.0.0.120 subnet mask. That's the subnet mask. And then let's go to settings. Let's just make sure they have the default gateway. We're going to set it as the router we have, just as a shortcut. Okay, because we only want to configure one router today. Okay, so that is configured 10.0.0.100, DNS server 8888. Okay, 120, and that's the correct subnet mask. Okay, here we're going to do same thing. I'll go to desktop, it's a bit quicker. So we're going to do 10.0.0.130, that's the subnet mask, 10.0.0.100, 8.8.8. Okay, so now we have our server set up. Let's connect them to the switch, whatever you give me, whichever port you give me. And then we're going to connect the modem to the cloud. Okay, and then we're going to connect the cloud to the switch. Right, that's pretty cool. It's like we have a modem, a router, and then 2 servers. and then we're gonna press config. We're gonna DSL modem 4 to F6. Click add. So modem 4 to F6. Okay, so now let's just test these links are working. Right? We're gonna test that I can ping from the router to my outside server. Okay, so we'll just go here. Okay, now we're gonna ping 192.0.0.120. And yep, we're able to get that back. Let's ping to 130. So now we know that we're able to ping these outside servers from the router. So this link from the router to the modem to the cloud to the switch to these two servers is working. Whew. All right, so now we're going to configure routing on both the layer 3 switch and the router, this router. Okay, so let's configure routing on the switch, on the layer 3 switch. So this is the layer 3 switch. What we're going to do is we're going to type conf t, get into global config mode, router OSPF1. So OSPF1 is your it's your routing protocol, dynamic routing protocol. Okay, and then we're gonna just say that we have different areas on this switch. We're gonna say network 192.168.0.0, 0.0.255.255, area 0. So everything in this network 192.168.x.x is part of the routing, and then we're just gonna put it area 0. So when you have OSPF, you can define different areas. So for this, we're just gonna say everything's part of the same area. Next, we're gonna say network 10.0.0.0, and then here we're gonna say 0.255.255.255. So 10.x.x.x is part of our routing, and we're gonna say network 200.165.200.0, 0.0.0.255. So pretty much this is our smallest network. I think this is just between the layer 3 switch and the router, and that's also part of a routing. Okay, so we're actually done on the switch, and the switch is now pretty much functioning as a router. So let's just type, I guess we could type show IP route, or here maybe we go exit show IP route. Okay, so we go to the central mode, and now we can type show IP route. It shows us the different routes connected, and that we have set up a gateway of the last resort. I think this was in phase 3 or the third video, and that we have different things connected. So the gateway of last resort here is G02, this is the gateway of last resort sending. If you don't understand where to send the traffic, you're going to send that to the router. Okay, and then we did, all right, so those are the things that are connected to the router. Now let's set up the switch. Okay, let's go set up this. Now we're gonna go set up the router. Sorry, go set up the router. Router OSPF. I think you have to type conf t. Router OSPF1. Okay, and what are the networks on the router? Now we're gonna say okay. Okay, so now we're gonna go onto the router, and I think we're gonna set up the same commands here. So we're gonna type that here. Router OSPF1 network 192.168.0.0, 0.0.255.255 area 0, 110.0.0.0.0.255.255 area 0, and network 200.165.200.0, 0.0.0.255 area 0. So pretty much, I'm sure there is probably a more better way to do this via static routes and limit the dynamic routes, but we're just gonna keep it simple. Okay, so I added the 3 networks to this router 0.0.255, and we're gonna just set which ones are inside and which ones are outside. So on my router, I want to say let's go into the gigabit 0.0.0 domain, and we're gonna go and set up IP NAT inside. And then we're gonna, so everything inside this gigabit port 0/0/0 on the router is my NAT inside. We're gonna go set up the NAT outside 0.0.1 IP NAT outside. So that is our NAT set up on the outside on the router. And then we're just gonna type this access list permit 192.168.0.0 0.0.255.255. So we're just permitting traffic from this access list, access list 1 permit. So now we've permitted traffic from the 192.168. And last, we're going to type IP NAT inside source list 1 interface G000 overload. Okay, so just setting up all these commands, we've set up NAT. And what NAT will allow us to do is for these devices to ping and actually get the ping back. Okay, so one last, and then we have set up pretty much everything. Maybe we'll do a DNS in the next video, but that's about it. So 10.0.120, and here we can see that we're able to ping this server all the way going through the router and going through here. So we're going to enter simulation mode just to end this and see how far we've come. Building VLANs, wireless controllers, DHCP, getting a router, getting NAT, and connecting that to the internet. So we're just going to do one last time. Simulation mode. Right? Maybe in the next video we could set up a DNS and show how these can be web servers. Okay, but right now we're going to just keep it simple and enjoy that we've set up all these things. Woo! So let's ping one server all the way on the outside. Ping 10.0.0.130 and see what happens to our requests. So we start up with a ARP and a ping packet. Let's see what happens to the ARP. Okay, so click next, the ARP. Okay, so it's the ARP request going around, right? It's the ARP request going around. And let's see where the ARP ends up. It's just ending up in VLAN 10, and it's saying, hey, we don't know where that is. So next, we're going to have a ping. The ping will go out, and it will go to the gateway of last resort, which is the router. And the router will go send it back. And we can actually see when we look at this packet, we can see that, look, the destination is there. Look at the inbound details. And the source IP has changed. Look, that's not on the that's not the IP of the computer, that's the IP of the layer 3 switch, and has the destination as well. Okay, so we can see stuff like that. And now it's going to this switch, just represents the internet, and then we're able to find that and the ping is able to go all the way back to the PC. Okie doke, so I'm gonna end that simulation, delete that simulation. And we're gonna finish this video, and I think in the next one we're going to tackle DNS. Should be super fast. Alrighty, thank you, bye-bye.